Standard 5th, Subject EVS 1, Chapter 3, The Earth and its Living World. Dear students, in the previous lesson you learnt about the Earth and its motions. Now let us learn about the living world on Earth. Can you tell where do you get water from? We generally get water from wells, rivers, lakes, ponds, through the rainfall, dams, etc. Where do we lay the foundation of buildings? We lay the foundation of buildings on land. What need do we meet through breathing? The need for oxygen, which is required to survive, is met through breathing. From where does the earth get light and heat? The earth gets light and heat from the sun. So we already know the answers to these questions. On the surface of the earth, we find land in some places. This land is called as the lithosphere. While in some places we find water. So the water body on the earth is called the hydrosphere. The earth is surrounded by air, an envelope of air, and that is called the atmosphere. There are living things on land, in water, and in the air. The sun is the cause of many natural processes on the earth. Water, land, and air constitute envelopes of the earth, namely, as I mentioned to you, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. The biosphere extends or rather spreads in all the other three spheres. Means biosphere comprises of lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So now let's learn about the lithosphere and the hydrosphere. The earth's crust is hard. The cover of the earth is hard. It is mainly made of rock. You will see that on the earth, one third portion is covered by land and two-thirds is covered by water. When we travel in hilly regions, we see layers of soil and rock along road cuts. We see grassy expanses of land in some places and only sand in others. The land is covered with crops in some places and with forest in other places. Sometimes we get to see the deeper layers of soil into which tree roots spread. So you can see now in this picture the tree roots are spreading in deeper layers of the soil. Whereas at others we see rocks split apart by the tree roots. So you can see here the rock has been split apart by the tree roots. There are gentle mountain slopes as well as sheer cliffs on rock. What is the meaning of sheer cliff? That means it is vertical, 90-degree or perpendicular you can say, and very steep. As you see in the picture, this rock, the fall is very steep, perpendicular 90-degree. All these land features are a part of the Earth's lithosphere, that is the land. Much of the Earth's surface is occupied by water. The lithosphere extends under this water too. So now we know that about a third of the surface of the earth consists of land. You can see in this one third of the portion of the earth is covered by land. A vast continuous stretch of land is called a continent. So there are total 7 continents. The land on the earth is divided into 7 continents. They are, first one we have here Asia, then Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica here down, and Australia. Asia is the largest continent and Australia is the smallest. The land is not even in all places. The unevenness gives different shapes to the land in different places. They are called landforms. So here in this image you can see various landforms like the plains, Okay, wherever the area is plain, you call it a plain. Then hill. Then we also have mountains, valleys, plateau, etc. Two-thirds of the Earth's surface is covered with water, which is a hydrosphere. Land is called a lithosphere, which is one-third of the Earth's surface, and water is the hydrosphere, which is two-third. Most of this water is in the oceans. Ocean water is salty. There are five oceans, namely the Atlantic Ocean. We have the Atlantic Ocean here, the Pacific Ocean, the Arctic Ocean on top here, the Southern Ocean down, and the Indian Ocean over here. The land along the margins of an ocean is called a coastal region. You have studied about the coastal regions of India, the western coast and the eastern coast. So, land along the margins of a land is called the coastal region. Water bodies of different shapes and sizes are formed along the coast. Okay, for example, sea. Now you know that we have the Arabian Sea towards the western coast of India. So the sea is formed. Another example is Bay of Bengal, which is towards the western coast of India, eastern coast of India. Towards the western coast, we have the Arabian Sea, and eastern coast we have Bay of Bengal. Another water body that is formed of different shape is a strait, the Palk Strait, which we can see here. A strait is a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two other large areas of water. The Palk Strait is between Tamil Nadu state of India. Here we have Tamil Nadu state of India and the Jaffna district of Sri Lanka. And here we have the Palk Strait. Other than the strait, other water body that we are familiar with is a gulf. The Gulf of Kutch is here. The Gulf of Kutch is an inlet of the Arabian Sea along the west coast of India in the state of Gujarat. Alright. And next we also have the creek. Creek, you are familiar with the Gorai Creek, Vasai Creek, the Thane Creek in Maharashtra. Okay. So these water bodies are part of the ocean. What is the creek? The creek is a channel flanked by islands. Okay. So this way, sea, bay, strait, gulf, creek, etc. are water bodies that are part of the ocean. Now let's learn about surface water. There are many streams of water flowing over the land. This water is not salty but fresh. These streams of water may be rills, brooks, streams, or rivers. Rills means the smallest and the rivers are the biggest. Rills, brooks, streams join each other to form rivers. Rivers which join to make a bigger river are called its tributaries. Like we have the tributaries of the river Ganga and so on. In some places, a river cascades down a sudden drop, means a river flows downward like this, and this form is called, yes, a waterfall. All rivers eventually flow into the ocean. Now let's learn about lakes. A water body formed by water collecting naturally in a low-lying area of land is called a lake. Now let's learn about water in the form of ice. Water particles in the clouds freeze, and in cold regions they come down in the form of snow. When layers of snow pile up on the ground, they form ice. When such layers of ice pile up in a low-lying area, they become enormous, means big in size. These, this huge mass slips down a slope at a very slow speed. This is called a glacier. So what is a glacier? A huge mass of ice that moves slowly over land is called a glacier. There are also huge blocks of ice floating in the sea. They are called icebergs. You must have seen it in movies, right? Groundwater. Now let's learn water available under the ground. Besides these water bodies on the earth's surface, there is a lot of water stored in the underground layers of rock. It is called groundwater. We reach it by means of dug wells. Here in this image you can see a well and bore wells. Okay, like this. Many lakes and wells get water from underground springs. The water or ice that occupies the earth's surface, groundwater, and water vapor in the atmosphere together form the earth's hydrosphere. So, this is all about hydrosphere, that is the water bodies on the earth. So, now that you know about lithosphere and hydrosphere, let's learn about the atmosphere. The envelope of air around the earth is called the atmosphere. As we go higher from the surface of the earth, the air in the atmosphere becomes rarer, means the air becomes lesser and lesser. The air consists of a mixture of gases, namely nitrogen. You can see nitrogen is so much, maximum in the atmosphere. So the air consists of gases, namely nitrogen, oxygen. Okay, oxygen is 21%, water vapor, carbon dioxide, and some other gases like argon and so on. Okay, they are in very small quantities, the other gases. The layers of the atmosphere are named as: closest to the earth's surface is the troposphere. Then we have stratosphere. Between troposphere and stratosphere, we have the ozone layer, which is a protective shield to the earth from the harmful ultraviolet rays. So, troposphere is the first layer closest to the earth, then the stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, and lastly the exosphere. The layer that extends from the earth's surface to about 13 km is called the troposphere, this first layer. About from earth's surface it is about 13 kilometers. The conditions in the troposphere change continuously. They affect the living world to a great extent. The surface of the earth gets heated due to the heat it receives from the sun. Hence, the air nearest the surface is the hottest. As we go higher in the troposphere, it becomes cooler and cooler. Almost all the water vapor in the atmosphere is contained in the troposphere itself. That is why all weather related phenomena such as formation of clouds, rain, fog, winds, and storms take place in the troposphere. The air on high mountains is rarer than the air near the earth's surface. So you will see that the aeroplanes also, there are aeroplanes which fly in the higher parts of troposphere. There the air is very rare. Therefore arrangements have to be made to ensure that the passengers get enough air for breathing while they are traveling in the aeroplane. Beyond the troposphere now, up to a height of about 50 kilometers, there is a layer from the earth called a stratosphere. This layer, okay, this part, the stratosphere. In the lower part of the stratosphere, there is a layer of gas called the ozone layer. This dark blue color line is the ozone layer's marking. Ultraviolet rays, okay, ultraviolet rays coming from the sun are harmful for living things. So UV rays, which are called ultraviolet rays coming from sun, are harmful for the living things on earth. But the ozone layer surrounding the earth between troposphere and stratosphere is the ozone layer, absorbs these harmful rays and protects the living world from the harmful ultraviolet rays. That's why ozone layer is very important. It is like a protective umbrella to us. Now, use your brain power. In which layer of the atmosphere do we see the rainbow? Try to answer. Yes, we see the rainbow in the troposphere. Mountaineers carry oxygen in the cylinders when they climb mountains that are more than 5,000 meter high. What could be the reason for that? The reason is at the height of 5,000 meter or more, air is very rare. The oxygen is limited there. That's why the mountaineers carry oxygen in cylinders when they climb mountains which are very high. Now let's learn about a new word, condensation. The process of vapor turning into water on cooling. That means if you boil water in a vessel on a gas and you cover it with a lid, and after some time you remove the lid, when the water is boiling you will see droplets of water on that lid. How does that happen? The water boils, evaporates, and then it comes in contact with the air, it cools down. This cooling is the process of condensation. And when the water vapor cools down, it turns into water, droplets of water. So now let's learn, how does it rain? Water on the earth evaporates continuously due to the heat of the sun. Water that has percolated into the soil, means collected in the soil, also evaporates due to the heat and enters the atmosphere. As water vapor is lighter than air, it rises high up into the atmosphere. So here you see there is a water body. It is evaporating due to the heat of the sun and it rises up, okay, into the atmosphere. As it goes higher, it cools and condenses because, as I told you, the air becomes cooler and cooler upwards. So as the water vapor goes up, okay, it is lighter, it rises high up in the atmosphere. As it goes higher, it cools and condenses, forming very fine droplets of water. So what happens? The droplets are small and light, that they float in the atmosphere here and there, okay, forming clouds finally. So this water vapor cool downs, condenses into water droplets, and they form clouds, okay. These small droplets join together and form bigger drops which are heavy now. They cannot float. Such drops of water fall down on the earth in the form of rain, and that's how we get water. This rainwater flows into rills, streams, rivers, and finally into the sea. Ice. Now, ice in the snow covered region also melts due to the heat of the sun to finally flow into rivers. So these processes of evaporation, condensation and rainfall go on in a continuous cycle. This is known as the water cycle in nature. Now let's learn about the biosphere. As I mentioned to you, biosphere means a combination of all the three spheres. The hydrosphere, the lithosphere and atmosphere together comprise of our biosphere. So there are innumerable kinds of living things on the earth. The various regions of the earth differ in many ways. Some regions are always covered with ice, while others have a hot climate. Depends upon place to place. There are mountains in some places and plains in others. Some places have a lot of rainfall while others are dry deserts. There are salty seas and oceans and also freshwater lakes. The ocean is shallow near the coast, means not so deep. But from the coastline, the ocean can be several kilometers deep. We see a great variety in the living things that inhabit these different regions. Let's take some examples. The polar bear is seen only in the snowbound polar regions. Zebras are found in Africa and kangaroos are found only in Australia. These animals are not found in any other regions. Elephants and lions are found in the regions of hot climate. Plants in all these different regions also show a great variety. This variety is characteristics of those different regions. Many different kinds of plants, animals, and microorganisms are found everywhere on the earth, on land, in water, and in the air. Living things exist in the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. They also interact with these spheres. This living world constitutes the biosphere. So, always remember, all animals, plants, and microorganisms are dependent on one another. They are also dependent on the spheres of the earth. The biosphere is where they take birth, live, and die. So, dear students, I hope you have understood this chapter well. Do read the chapter from the textbook for a better understanding. Stay safe, keep learning, and thank you.